Hi, my name is Yair Cervantes, and I'm going to be talking about five specific events that I chose of the 25 that we did. And I'm going to choose five that I thought were some of the most significant out of the 25. So first, I chose the Angel of Treaty of 1880 because not only did it allow for the U.S. to put a limit on immigration, but it also just allowed them. It put a limit on the Chinese labor workers, but also allowed the students to enter the country as well, which in later laws was allowed for the Chinese workers to gain residency. But this allowed for more control in order for people to oversee who was entering the country, and it was one of the first laws that allowed for people to actually enter the country with permission, even like just immigrating to the country. The next one I chose was the Immigration Act of 1903. This was another big one that paved the way for immigration and how it's like overseen now. And this act was made so that immigrants were more in control because of prior things that had happened, like things like just things that had happened. And it was significant because it was a target that was to certain groups of immigrants in order to prevent them from doing things, whether it was bad, from entering the country. They were just there to just to prevent them from doing those things and allowing them to get into the country. So that was like another one of the big laws in the immigration that to put more control on immigration and all that. This is another one, the Bracero Agreement of 1942. This was kind of like a program that was formed between both the U.S. and Mexico. This agreement allowed for Mexican workers to enter the country in order to work. So it was like this new program that allowed for Mexican workers to come into the country. They were provided, with food, work, all that, resources of that nature. The only thing, the living conditions and resources weren't great at the time. So they did struggle a lot, but they were allowed to enter the country legally in order to work and everything. So yeah, the conditions weren't great, but it was a new program for the workers, and this led to like other things like DACA that we'll get into later. Another one was the Cuban Adjustment Act of 1966. This act allowed for Cuban nationals, when they were fleeing from the country around this time, allowed them to gain access to coming to America, to the United States, in order to build a new life. And the U.S. actually provided them with resources, and opened the doors really for the Cubans to come in, and just gave them another opportunity to live their new lives as they fled from their country. And it was significant because it opened the doors and helped Cuban people, to just try and reach new life and actually have the opportunity to live, just differently. They were welcomed. Next is the DACA Act of 2012. It was a program in order to provide access and sort of like bypass immigration, because it allowed for children to immigrate to the United States, and they were referred to as dreamers, and it was an opportunity to live, work, and be able to study in the U.S. with no problem. It didn't really grant them the opportunity to gain like citizenship or like apply for residency, things like that, but it just provided them with the opportunity to get into the country legally, to live and work and just be able to study in the U.S. because it was mainly for children. And that was in 2012, yeah. Next is the DAPA Act. This one was never formally implemented, but it was actually like a thought. This one was actually for the parents of people coming into the United States, and this was actually just to keep families together. In order to, it was just an idea that it will keep families together, keep them supported, and have that support, not wanting to break up families and everything. So this one wasn't actually implemented, but it was another great idea, just like DACA, in order to bring people into the country legally so they could work, live there. But it was seen as so they could stay together, for families to stay together. And then this is what I did. I just opened up a Google Doc, and these were the 5 ones that I selected. So yeah, thank you so much.